Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at the era of chaos. So in the era of chaos I'm going to show you how I have profited in the region of 20 billion ISK. So if you do like this type of content, then please do think about subscribing to the channel for more videos in the future. So in this era of chaos, CCP has changed ore distribution, changing the ores that can be found in nullsec, lowsec and highsec. We've had the ESS recently announced, which is changing the bounties in nullsec. We've had the Triglavian invasion and the splitting up of the trade hubs and the removal of 29 systems down to Triglavian space or into Triglavian space, and we've also just had the Halloween extravaganza. So with all this change and instability going on, it has been a great time to be investing in stuff to try to make some profits long term. So this video is basically to try and show you again what is possible and what is out there. I've had no extra access to any information that no one else has had, and basically it's just about realizing the opportunities as and when you see them and how you can profit from them. And then I'm often late to the party, so I should imagine there are people out there that have made a substantial amount of ISK from what's been going on. So when the ore changes were first announced, I managed to get my hands on 11 million units of megasite, which I paid 380 ISK per unit for. Now at the current market value, we are looking at 750 ISK per unit, which comes out on the megasite that I have increased the value from what I bought it for around about 4 billion ISK. Now, unfortunately, as I said, I was a bit late and I didn't get quite as much as I'd wanted. I would have taken some of the other minerals as well, but megasite I managed to get hold of before it pretty much spiked. So, unfortunately, it was the only one left, so it's the only one I managed to get my hands on. So, as I said, that's about 4 billion ISK, so we'll keep a tally and then we'll go from there. So, the next big purchase as such that I made was the battleship investment. So, I bought 4 Abaddons. I think I bought 8 Rooks, 42 Maelstroms and 8 Ravens. And again, these were pretty much all that I could get due to being late again to the blog that got released in regards to the mineral distribution. And the mineral distribution, so say, that got announced with this one was that the ores were changing to different locations from what they had previously been in. So I think it was Nox and Isogen or Mex was moving to lowsec. Tritanium was getting less easy to mine in lowsec and would only be available in highsec, etc. So again, that had quite a lot of volatility on the markets, and I couldn't buy the minerals themselves, so I bought the battleships due to the fact that they generally contain large amounts of minerals. I would have done capital ships or freighters, etc., but unfortunately most of them had gone and these were the only items that were left. Now in regards to the battleships, I bought the Abaddons, give or take, at 200 million ISK, so they have gone from 200 to 300. Same with the Maelstroms, although I haven't got rid of these yet. Again, I bought them for 203 million ISK and a little below, and they are selling for 3.5, 3.10. Again, I've been steadily going up to come in line with what minerals are now selling for. I got rid of the Rooks recently, and again they sold for 314 million ISK, and I bought them for 200, and the Ravens I bought for 200 million and I sold for 250. Again, I possibly could have held on to the Ravens for a little bit longer, but I wanted some ISK back. So yeah, again, if I'd have kept them, I would have made quite a lot more ISK, but again, that's the problem with holding and selling. You never quite know when the top is there and when to sell, when to buy. So I've just totaled them up. That was 66 battleships, roughly 100 ISK profit per battleship. So we've got about 6.5 billion ISK there. And so that brings the current tally to just over 10 billion ISK from them two alone. So just from the mineral distribution, I have profited in the region of 10 billion ISK so far. And so that was 40 days ago since that patch or blog was released by CCP. So I have on average increased my net worth by 125 million ISK a day just on the battleships that I purchased at the time. And that brings us over now to the Triglavians and the slight changes that have been being made there from CCP. And unless you are unfamiliar, the skill books have stopped dropping in the Abyssal sites. So prior to a couple of weeks ago, all the skill books that you could get that you would need in order to fly the Triglavian ships would drop in the Abyssal sites. Now this has mysteriously just stopped, and as far as I'm aware, I may be wrong, but there hasn't been an announcement from CCP in regards to the stopping of the skill books dropping. However, currently on the test server you can gain access to the Triglavian areas and you can buy the skill books there for loyalty points. However, you can't buy the specialization skills, and well, as you can imagine, the specialization skills have spiked quite considerably in price over this time due to the fact that they are currently unavailable, as far as I'm aware of, from anywhere in New Eden. So as it currently stands, you are not able to find or buy, other than on the market, the specialization skills for the Triglavian weapons. And this has led to some very interesting price changes. So the medium is all the way up to 1.4 billion ISK per skill book. Small hasn't changed as much, but again is still riding, oh well, I tell a lie, they're now up to 1.15 billion ISK, and again steadily rising. So yeah, obviously that's been quite a major change. So I'm expecting these specialization skills also to be added, unless they're going to come from somewhere else. I don't imagine these are never going to return, for obvious reasons that you can't use the Tech 2 versions of the Triglavian weapons unless you have the skills. However, this has resulted in some nice profits. Now if we look at the large here, now I was slightly unlucky with this. As you can see, on the 21st I sold 2 skill books for 176 million ISK. Now I decided that I was going to bring back and sell some of the legacy stuff that I had from doing Abyssal sites. I used to do quite a lot of them, haven't done any in ages, but I decided that it got to a nice price, it was time to sell, and the very next day they spiked. I realised I was doing a bit of practice on the test server and I'd run a good number of them, and it dawned on me that I hadn't had a single skill book, and so obviously jumped back on Tranquility to think, oh, if they're not dropping, something's happening and I need to buy some, to find out that again I was a bit late and that the price had already spiked to 265 million ISK. However, on the fact that from the observations that I'd done, but I hadn't had any skill books, 256 million ISK seemed relatively reasonable. So as you can see, I bought up 15 of these books. So as you can see here, I sold this one for 275 million ISK. I made a bit of a mistake with this one, and just to highlight it, somebody had put an order in at the perimeter station. I decided that it was high enough that I wanted to sell it. Unfortunately, my tiredness, or in my lack of observation, their range from the perimeter one was set to station. So I sold mine in jitter, which didn't go to the sell order, which was in perimeter, or for one jump, because it wasn't for one jump. Went to the next one down, which was, instead of being for 370 million ISK, was for 275 million ISK. So something to be aware of, and one of the little mistakes that I did make there, so I thought I would highlight that. But the price has been steadily increasing, and I've been steadily getting rid of the stock that I've got. I do want to hold, and I have a feeling that again these are going to get higher, and if we look, currently they are at the 600 million ISK mark, but I don't want to get stuck. I'd paid obviously over the odds for these books at the time, bearing in mind that before this they were selling for about 60 million ISK, so I'd paid quite a substantial amount over, and I didn't want to get left holding the bag. So if CCP did announce something, or that they would be coming for loyalty points, or they just made a mistake in the Abyssal sites and re-added them, obviously this price would then tank as everybody tried to sell it as quickly as possible. So I wanted to lock in some of the profits here. I've still got 4 of the books, I've still got a couple of the small disintegration, But again, I didn't want to get stuck holding the entire lot, which is why I've slowly been getting rid of them over time. So with that totted up, all in all, including the small disintegrations that I've got, that is about 6 billion ISK that I've made there. And just for other references as well, I haven't done too much of the smaller skill books that I've got here, but again, there's been some nice sell parts, but I haven't been all that active in trying to get rid of them yet. Generally because I didn't pay a huge amount for them, and I've pretty much made my ISK back from what I did pay on them. And there is a possibility that they may end up going higher, so for the time being I'm willing to wait it out for a bit to see if these do end up going higher. At the moment they're relatively low, etc., so I don't know if they are being bought in. Again, I haven't been to the Triglavian sites in on Tranquility, so I don't know if you can currently buy the skill books there, but if I do get stuck holding these skill books, then it's not really a big issue and I'm not going to really lose any money. I could have made obviously a bit more by trying to get rid of them a bit more aggressively, but all in all it's not really a big problem. So with that being 6 billion ISK, that takes us up to 16.5 billion ISK, and that brings me on to the last thing that I've been doing. And again, this was covered in my prior video, so I'm not going to go into it a great deal, but as we can see here, we've got the war clones. And again, these have still been doing very, very well. I've been buying them here, I've been buying them in Amar, I've been buying them pretty much wherever I can get them. The price has varied since, but all in all, I have been paying in around the 200,000 the 800,000 ISK mark, giving me 200,000 ISK profit. And so far, I have bought, give or take, 40,000 of these, and at a profit of 170,000 ISK per item, I have made 6.8 billion ISK on these items. So the war clones and the Halloween event has been incredibly profitable, and I've done very, very well from it. And that brings my grand total up to 23.3 billion ISK. And for a time that's meant to be chaotic and people have been losing their minds that this is the end, etc., I have done particularly well. Now, again, I have been in a good position to do this. It's handy having obviously the reserves of ISK around to be able to funnel that into these projects and leave it there for a period of time. But again, this is to try and highlight the fact that diversity in what you do is probably key. And I've been pretty vocal for pros and cons of CCPs, what they've been up to of recent times. But again, just having different streams of revenue. Again, this isn't including the other stuff I do in regards to the manufacturing, the research, the production, etc. This is just speculation stuff that with the blogs and the posts that CCP have been putting out, I've been jumping on, investing some ISK and just sitting on it. And again, 23 billion ISK. Yeah, fair enough, the war clones, again, wasn't speculation, but again, it was a change in something that was different, out the ordinary, and again, jumped on and made a considerable amount of ISK from doing it. So I think, again, what I'm trying to get to here is just keep your eyes open, just be aware of the things that are changing around, keep on it. Again, you know, you don't need to be 100% on it. As I said, I got to most of these slightly late. We got to the mineral distribution late. I wasn't doing the war clones for the first 2 or 3 days. I got to that late. The battleships that I bought, again, I was late to that. I was forced to buy ships instead of the minerals. I would have much preferred the minerals, but again, I wasn't there in time. And again, that means that even if you miss the blogs initially, even after 8, 9, 10 hours, there are still potential profits to be made in every change that happens. Yes, some of them you won't always win on. Again, I'm still holding some items so far that haven't done a great deal. I have some salvage here. I've got power circuits, got 10,000 of these. I was hoping these were going to go up a little bit more. They've kind of leveled off at the moment. Some buying there, but you know, I don't always win, but recently the change of chaos has turned out very, very well for me. So I thought I'd share that with you. And, you know, again, the nice thing here is that it was available to everybody. I have got or done nothing more than what everybody else had access to. It's just seeing the opportunities and being in a position to try and profit from it. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope that was interesting. If you haven't already subscribed, then do think about it, especially if you made it this far into the video. Leave any comments, feedback, etc. And again, as always, thank you for listening. Talk to you soon.